This week on Weigh In, Provence wins by a whisker in a thrilling finish to the Group 1 Mufasa Classic at Trentham. The Scunner causes an upset in the spring sprint with a first stakes victory for Ashley Meadows and Kelly Myers. Emotions were definitely high when Chris Wood delivered the gold in the Bone Crusher Stakes. And finally, Matt Cameron got the best out of Midnight Edition to win the Concorde of Pukekohe. Hello and a very warm welcome to Weigh In. Great to be working with you on a Sunday morning. And as always, we're here to review all of the action from yesterday's Group 1 meeting and of course Pukekohe, as well as you heard in that intro. Panel looks slightly different this morning. I'm hosting Jayne, of course, Aidan. A very good morning to both of you. Jayne, you were on track at Trentham yesterday. It looked like a magnificent day and we were just talking about the horses that are going to come from this meeting, and I think there's going to be a lot of form lines we can follow.
I think that you're 100% bang on in that comment, that what we saw across the card at Trentham yesterday were strong fields, competitive racing and some really nice results. Not just the winners, but some horses in behind as well that we will be able to follow with a bit of confidence out of the meeting. I thought, considering the rain that we'd had earlier in the week, the Trentham track came back to a good track after a couple of races, and it played really fair and provided a good surface for really top-class racing, and we saw a great result, Aidan, with the Group 1 finish.
Yeah, fantastic, wasn't it? And there was real drama around Provence, obviously, with the issues we had with the photo finish afterwards, but doesn't it say something about Stephen Marsh? You know, it's 3 Group 1s for her now. She's just a rising star. She's beaten some good horses home, so I've got to say I underestimated just how good she is, but congratulations to Steve and Tony Ryder and Brett Cooper and his social team, because she's a star.
She is a star, and you can see what it meant to the connections post the running of the race. Speaking of the feature from yesterday's racing, let's go back and relive all of the action from the Group 1 Mufasa Classic.
The best of the best are here outside El Vencedor, and we've got White looking for 3 dual Group 1 winners spread throughout the field. It's a cracking edition. Provence underrated by many. Last preparation, I believe she's done absolutely nothing wrong this time.
No, she hasn't. There's a bit of sense of timing third up. She's had a couple runs under her belt over shorter trips, 1,400 metres. She is a Group 1 winner at this distance on this course, the Thorndon Mile.
First time I've seen her this preparation. I actually think she's matured in between prep. She looks a little bit stronger this time round. A nice parade from her. I couldn't knock her.
This is a TAB Mufasa Classic. It is Group 1 time again. Ready, they're racing. In the TAB Mufasa Classic, bedtime story was a bit slow to go, and La Creek will be taken back. Carfra began well, showing pace. He is back up on the outside. Provence will settle down nice and handy third, followed by Legato on the inside of Aguirre. Between those runners, one Bold Cat, a length and a half away, bedtime story. Favourite White Tack, he's back third to last, second to last Ladies Man. And she's going to be ridden ice cold today. La Creek taken straight back to the tail end of the field. Here's White Tack brought to the outside. La Creek looking to track him at every stride. They're in the straight at the 300. Carfra the leader. Here's White Tack releasing, and La Creek coming with him. Up on the inside is Provence with a good run. La Creek up on the outside of White Tack, and now Legato, and on the inside is Provence. Here we go. Here's a go. La Creek, White Tack and Provence in a 3-way go, and I think Provence and a photo finish, maybe Provence with another Group 1 win on the Champagne turf, but White Tack is right in the photo, and as to La Creek, what a thriller.
Well, that's a horse race. George Rook has stolen every run up the inside. White Tack and La Creek sat back and came together, but you can see Provence smoking in behind them, and he snicked that run to the inside. Is it Provence? Is it White Tack? Is La Creek right in the mix? We're yet to see a photo here, and Ryder's still out on the track. We still wait. It must be extremely close. Oh, well, that's amazing. The crowd are giving these first 3 home a massive round of applause, and they deserve it. They've been warriors out there today. They've gone to war, and here we go.
The winner is number 8, Provence.
8. Provence wins the race.
There's nothing quite like the theatre of a horse race, and to sit next to Tony Ryder and you go through a range of emotions. Anyone that sort of knows us, we don't go early, and we probably did a little bit in the stands, and it sort of looked like we got it, then you hadn't, and what a great rendition of the race. To have those class of horses. I sort of said to Tony, to have sort of 5 Group 1 winners in there, and and it was befitting of that field. It was an amazing finish, and yeah, it's nice to come out on top of those. We've had 6 seconds across the weekend, so Steve and I were getting a bit titchy with each other, and yeah, it's nice to get one in that fashion.
Well, they dragged it out, and I was getting more and more nervous. I was doubting myself more and more. I was doubting the horse, but to hear the number on the horse called, it was just relief. Hugging the owners, Dylan, it was just brilliant, just a pure emotion. Up until 400 metres out, I was thinking Stephen's going to shoot me, but no, we got a gap, and her turn of foot was electric, and I thought I won by a bit further than the photo, but I learnt my lesson never to assume.
I'm just wrapped that we've got our first Group 1 in the Central Districts, and it has turned out like that. We've got the very best here, and gee, they've put on a show.
I think that pretty much tells the story perfectly, because it was an emotional roller coaster if you're involved in the finish there at Trentham in the Group 1 Mufasa Classic. And we wanted to talk to the jockey on board who secured his first Group 1 victory, George Rook. We say a very good morning to you and a huge congratulations. No doubt a lot of relief when you got that result through.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, just listening back to that interview, I don't really remember it, to be honest, and there's a few words that I'd probably change now. But no, it was a great day. Even before the race, just the horses in it was just set up to be a fantastic race and a thrilling finish it was. Whiteack coming off 2 Group 1s. Le Creek finished the second however many times she has. Provence third up. No, it's just Legato off that trial. She was always going to be a big worry. No, it's just, yeah, brilliant day.
George, we are going to talk in more detail about the positives out of the day yesterday. It ended on a high, but it didn't start so well for you. Can you just talk us through the incident in race 2 that saw you stood down for race 3?
Yeah, well, I was just sort of on one for Cody Cole, just cantering down to the start, and she just sort of ducked from underneath me. Very quick. Bruno said to me afterwards that, yeah, it was just very quick. Yeah, and yeah. And I just sort of got caught up in between her legs. Got a few bumps and bruises. Yeah, it wasn't ideal. And then I passed the concussion test, sat in the ambulance for the race. But the steward said I hit my head, so they stood me down for the 3rd race. But I was able to ride the rest of the day, so I didn't have a good start. But it couldn't have finished any better.
And how was the body today?
Oh, very, very sore. Very sore. My arm's a bit blue, hips are blue, knees blue. But she got me good. I'll give her that. But no, yeah, very good. Very good day.
George, I guess even though the body's a bit black and blue, you wake up as a Group 1 winning jockey. How does it feel? Has it sunk in?
Well, it didn't really sink in yesterday because we sort of had to get to the airport, catch the flight, drive home, got home late. But I've woke up and I've not stopped watching it. I spoke to Tony Ryder, said thank you to him again. Couldn't thank him enough, and Stephen and Dylan and the whole team at Stephen Marsh. She's just in great form. She was the best looking horse in the paddock from my point of view. And just Dylan and Stephen know her so well. They said if you can be a bit unlucky, she'll probably win. And I was pretty sure Stephen was cursing me, but he rang me after. He said that was perfect. So it caught me by surprise.
George, things couldn't have unfolded any better in the run. You got her into just such a beautiful spot, and obviously, as you mentioned, those runs sort of appeared on the rail. Just talk me through the mare herself, what she like to ride in a race, and the run itself in the race.
I got on her. She was very big, very strong. Canted down to the start. She was very sassy on the way down. I couldn't really steer her. I thought I was going to fall off again, so I was a bit nervous. Took my feet out the ships down at the start. And she just switched off, got someone to put a hand on me. And she just jumped out, put herself in the race beautifully, relaxed, never overdid anything. And I got a gap, and her turn of foot was just electric. And it was probably, Opie put me on the rail, sort of coming into the bend. And at the time I thought, oh no, but it was probably the making of winning the race. Because I think if I got out any sooner or did anything different, might have been caught. But no, 3rd up, to win a Group 1 over a mile. She's just going to get better and better.
In terms of preparation for the race, George, it was the first time you'd sat on her on race day. Had you done any work in the stables behind the scenes, and what did you do to sort of get to know her and understand her racing style and her pattern?
Well, I spoke to Craig. He rode her last time at Pukekohe. He was very positive about her. She was just short of the run at Pukekohe. I watched when Sam Spratt rode her, and I just tried to do the same as them. Really, I couldn't really speak to Sam. I didn't. But she's very straightforward in the race. She puts herself in it. You don't have to do a lot on her. Switches off good, and it's just when you need her, she comes alive. So, no, she was very straightforward, and yeah, it was a very good day.
You've gone from strength to strength, George, since you landed in the country, I think, about 12 months ago. What were your goals when you got here, and was ticking off Group 1 one of those?
Well, yeah, it's always a goal, and it's always going to be a goal to get a few more. But when I first came here, it was sort of see how it goes, stay for 6 months, and I sort of, thanks to the owners and trainers, I hit the ground running, had plenty of winners in my first year. And it's just sort of, I won a listed race at the back end of last year. And this year it's just got better and better. I had a Group 3, 2 Group 3s, and now a Group 1, and it's just sort of, it's all happening quite quick. Just got to stay level and stay on earth, pretty much.
George, it must have been sort of familiar feelings when it was a tight finish in the Group 1 there yesterday, because, geez, you went oh so close on affirmative action, and you could see what it meant to you after the race, waiting to get that result. There were certainly some nervous moments, weren't there?
Yeah, the longer it went on, I just thought, because it wasn't, I didn't actually think I won at Christchurch, and then Bruno sort of said, well done, and everyone else said well done, and I just sort of assumed that I won. But I don't remember anything after they announced Romanoff the winner. I couldn't tell you what I said to the owners or anything like that. So I learnt my lesson. And yesterday we crossed the line, and it was me, Craig, and Massa, and they said, what do you think? I said, nothing, just leave me alone, go away. Just pulled up, had a pat, came back in, and we were walking around, and I was looking up to the sky. I've never done that before. I believe in God now. I asked God, honestly, I was just like, please don't be another one. But no, it was just a massive relief.
George, something I know very well is being miles and miles and miles away from your family, of course, back in the UK. And a little something popped up on my social media that was your mum saying it's not even 8 a.m. and George has won a Group 1. Tell me about what it means to family at home to see you achieving on the highest stage globally.
Yeah, well, Mum, she rang me this morning. She's on the champagne, so I think she's feeling quite good this morning. It's just very odd and bizarre. The family have been brilliant. I've got a lot of support back home. The phone's been going crazy. It's just, yeah, it's hard, but I speak to Mum and Dad every day. No, it's yeah, they were over the moon. They rang me 3 times yesterday on the plane. Oh, yeah, no, it was very good. Just want to give them a big hug now, so just have to wait for that.
I think you made comment at some point yesterday during an interview that you were here to stay. Was that just the emotions talking of yesterday, or are your plans to be involved in racing in New Zealand long term as a rider?
No, definitely. It wasn't just in the moment. I'd love to stay here. I want to stay here long term. I'd love to get residency, buy a house. Yeah, it's just a lovely country. The people are brilliant. Everyone's been great to me, and I wouldn't want to change a thing at the moment. So, yeah, I'll be here for good.
George, you also went out and rode the last winner on the card. Tell us a little bit about Forever in Time. It was a pretty impressive turn of foot from this horse as well in the closing stages.
Yeah, well, she had a very good trial at Taupo. It was the first time I've sat on her, and she's a very delicate filly. She's just a bit buzzy and a bit hot. I spoke to Robert earlier in the day, but I can't really remember what he said. And I was drawn out wide, and sort of the track had been playing fair, but not many have come from the back off slow speed. And I knew it was 1200, but we didn't go mad. I was just purely a passenger, just sat on her, and I squeezed her up, and she just gave me an awesome feel. Probably hit the front way too soon, but no, I think she'll be better over 14, that's for sure.
George, we know you're feeling a little bit sore, but Te Aroha today, for those of us, for those watching Weigh In live, what do you got for us? You got a winner?
I hope so. I hope it doesn't stop. I do quite like Celebrate Now in race 5. She's done 2 very nice trials. She didn't like the soft ground, but she definitely won't have soft ground today with the 28 degrees. So hopefully we got a bit of a wide gate, but look, hopefully she can overcome that, and her ability shows.
George, really appreciate you jumping on this call this morning. Great to catch up with you post the Group 1 victory. Enjoy it, and best of luck this afternoon at Te Aroha.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, awesome win by, of course, Provence. And we were talking about a horse we've underestimated, Aidan, and she has to be considered as that.
Oh, she's now won 3 Group 1s, and like you got to say, she just does seem to just keep getting better and better. And I think a lot of that you've got to give credit to Stephen Marsh. You know, how many of those horses that came out of the Auckland Thoroughbred Breeders' Stakes just going, oh, we'll go to the Kalo Zuzu. You know, they've rolled the dice, headed this direction, and obviously, she has benefited from being on the inside, I think, really, hasn't she? You heard from George there saying, well, I hope he's put him there. You know, he wasn't happy about it, but boy, didn't she relish going along the inside.
Look, I thought it was a great ride. She came into the race off the back of 2 runs back in this preparation. So 3rd up, there was probably an expectation that she was probably getting somewhere near her best. I know that the word from the stable where they still thought she was a little bit vulnerable, hence why they sort of wanted her saved up for a short sprint. One thing I will say, though, is the horses that finished 2nd and 3rd, Waitak, La Creek, both came into the race off of long breaks between races. I think Waitak was, about 7 weeks between runs. And both got back in the field, had to come wide and mount their runs. So if you're looking at the different runs that horses had and the different times they were at their preparation, I think it 100% favoured her. If I was going to take a horse out of the race to follow forward, I would be taking a Waitak or a La Creek, because I think they'll springboard off of this. And not to say Provence won't either, but I do think that given she was 2 races into a preparation, didn't have that long break going in and had a really economical run on the fence, didn't go round a horse, it was a brilliant ride. She was advantaged by the way the race was run.
We did see La Creek ridden slightly differently, and we saw her really accelerate well late. What did you make of that sort of change of tactic?
Well, look, she's just so versatile, isn't she? I think bottom line, she's just an absolutely super racehorse. You can't say anything negative about her. What a horse to own, to know that every time you step out at the races with a horse that she is going to give you 100%. She's not a big horse, but she is all heart. And I don't think it matters what they do with her. She tries every time she steps onto a racetrack. It's unfortunate that she just can't get her nose down on the line in another Group 1, but how can you be disappointed with what she's been able to produce on race day?
She was dictated to by a wide draw. She'd drawn 3 or 4. I think that would have been a lot more positive.
She was also momentarily held up in the straight. I think Masa did the right thing by following Waitak into the race, but unfortunately Waitak was off and gone with his momentum, and he just had to wait to clear heels to get out. So there were a few little excuses for her in terms of the race setup as well. Had she been able to get out and get rolling a little bit earlier, maybe she may have been the one that got her head down on the line. So there were some circumstances amongst the way the race was won. And I guess that's the negative by riding a horse cold, is you're always going to be relying on luck, whether that's tempo, the way the race is run, who's going to take you into the race. I think the greatest thing about her is she is able to put herself on speed in a race. I don't mind that they changed tactics to see what would happen, but the same result is she tried just as hard as she does every time she steps out.
She sure does. Let's get you to the beaten jockeys, and we kick things off with Craig Grills.
Great run today again, back to the mile. I was probably a spot further back than what I wanted to be. Just didn't really sort of muster a lot of early speed from the gate, so finished real strong, and he's all but got there, but looking forward to Boxing Day. He's going to be primed and ready for that.
She tried hard. We planned to go back today. She relaxed very well behind Waitak, and come off the hill at 300. She was going to pass Waitak quite easily. But last bit, come to the end of it, I think fresh up over mile, she just come to the end, but she feel real good, and I'm excited for the Boxing Day.
Very disappointing. We didn't have a lot of luck in running. He was quite keen without a lot of cover. I'd white-tack to my inside, and when he pushed me out on the corner, he sort of just put up the white flag. So hopefully he pulls up okay and everything's all right with the old boy, but yeah, certainly well below par.
This is the beaten jockeys from that Mufasa Classic from yesterday. Here's a look at the Ivil Classic market, and Aidan, we'll bring you in to talk through where some of these horses might go and if they will take their place in this race.
Yeah, definitely the playing for Whitehack who got home last night afterwards, and they're really happy. Obviously, the run was terrific, like Jayne said, was freshened, but now gets to 2,000 metres. So dominant in that Livermore Classic. El Vencedor heading in that direction as well. Lark Creek stayed the night and live in last night, but will head home today. They're more than likely going to head that way. And then the other horse, just going back into Provence, they'll probably just freshen, maybe look at the same race that they won last year, the Royal Descent Stakes on Boxing Day. It's a fillies and mares 1,400 metre race. Obviously the main aim is getting that New Zealand Thoroughbred Breeder Stakes again now. She'll just go through and just pick off those Group 1s that she can. She's just accumulating them. Can't underestimate what she's doing now.
No, you absolutely can't. And a big well done to the Stephen Marsh team with that Group 1 success. Obviously, the big elephant in the room in terms of that Group 1 was the incident surrounding the photo finish. And to talk us through that incident is John Otham. John, we welcome you in to weigh in this morning. I guess to set the scene for people at home that maybe weren't aware of what happened, just talk us through the scenario that unfolded post the running of the Group 1.
Yeah, morning, Emily. Look, just where would the stewards view the race? We're up next to the judges' box. So normally when it's a close finish like that, we poke our head in and have a quick look at the photo. As soon as I did that, straight after the race, I was told that there'd been a malfunction and there'd been no capture of the photo finish. From that stage, then the judge, Ron Gurney, headed downstairs with us into the stewards' room, where we do have a very sophisticated Hawkeye race replay system, where we can slow down, stop, watch multiple views, blow it up if necessary, etc. So initially, both Ron Gurney and myself and the other stewards, our initial viewing of them going across the line was that Provence had narrowly held on to win the race. After extensive viewing of the films, Ron Gurney was happy and confident to make a call, and the stewards had no issue with that. We believe the video support footage that we viewed did support that, and accordingly the official result was declared with Provence the winner.
John, Aidan here. Just you spoke about just the malfunction with the photo finish. Is there no way that you can actually go back and manually stop it? Obviously you're saying that you're needing that grab for the photo. Can you not go back and do that manually?
No, unfortunately, it didn't activate at all. So there was no capture for the race. So there's no way of retrieving that.
I know it's probably unfortunate, John, that it happened in a Group 1 race, but the photo finish in terms of the operation, is it something that needs to be looked at a little bit more closely in terms of New Zealand racing to make sure that these things don't happen in our big races?
Yeah, that has been underway, Jayne. Look, it's not unheard of for the photo finish not to work. It does happen from time to time. Unfortunate here, obviously, that it happened in a Group 1 and happened to be such a close finish, so that's everyone's worst nightmare. Look, around the country, NZTR have been looking to take a more active role in standardising the photo finish systems, and they're now just been sort of moved into operating out of hubs for the 3 main racing districts around the country. The CD has had a few issues over the last year, and the equipment has all just been upgraded and some training done. They'll continue to investigate exactly what went wrong yesterday, but initial indications on this occasion, it may appear that it was just human error.
Okay, it sounds like it's something you don't want to happen again, John, but what is the process going forward? How do we make sure that, especially on these Group 1 race days, that this doesn't happen again?
Yeah, look, certainly I've already spoken to NZTR and recommended they need to more properly assess what the backup system is if the actual photo finish fails. So I think they'll be going back to Finish Links in Australia and just investigating that aspect, that there is some sort of backup when the actual computerised photo finish doesn't work for whatever reason, and that can be a technical one or it can be a human error. There's so many, it's a very sophisticated sort of system, and with everything that's things go wrong, and unfortunately, to anything that involves a human involvement, we all make mistakes from time to time.
John, we really appreciate you coming on Weigh In this morning and just sort of guiding us through what unfolded there. Appreciate you fronting this morning and look at something, obviously, that will be an ongoing discussion.
Yep, thanks for having me.
An interesting point, obviously, as a part of the coverage yesterday that we broadcast on Trackside is the lack of information that we were able to put across as part of our coverage, which only added to the confusion post-race. And I guess that's another element that needs to be considered.
It may have been something we probably should have raised with John then, because I think potentially it's up to the Saipindri stewards to be passing on that information, certainly in a timely manner. If there is an ongoing thing saying, oh, we've got a few issues here, then maybe they should be coming saying, okay, this and this is what's going on. So that everyone's knowing. There's so many people glued to TV wanting to know what's happening in that situation, and yeah, the communications channels do need to be better just to get that across what's happening.
Look, I think perhaps maybe a failing on our behalf as well as the broadcaster, because what we know from the history of waiting for a race result from the judge is that the longer it takes, the more likely it is that the finish is a lot closer than what you think. I think anybody watching that race yesterday, visually when those horses crossed the line, it looked like there was a very clear margin to Provence. And we all had just assumed Provence had won the race. It wasn't until the information came through from the judge that it was a close finish and in no particular order he called two numbers, that it was like, okay, well, maybe this is closer than we all assumed, because when you're studying a photo, then you're trying to find a margin. Unfortunately, that's not what was happening behind the scenes, and we weren't properly able to give that information to our audience at home, and also the connections on course that were standing around waiting, wondering why their horse hadn't been called the winner. So yes, I think communication is a huge one in this circumstances. Had we just known that there'd been a malfunction, and here is the process that we're going to go through over the next 5 to 10 minutes, then we could have given people that reassurance at home and reassurance on track that Provence had won the race. It was just a matter of going through the process to make sure that they were certain. And I think, in credit to the judge was fairly confident that there was a margin, and it was just about going through the process with the stewards to ensure that the right result was being put across. So, communication was a huge thing in that issue. And I think there was a little bit of uproar post-race and a little bit of disappointment, and you can understand from Waitak's connections, but I think it's very evident to everybody that Provence won that race. It was just that perhaps we didn't tell the story well enough about what was happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, some work-ons for everybody yesterday when it came to that situation surrounding the photo finish. We're going to get to a break here on Weigh In. Stick with us, because on the other side we get into the undercard at Trentham.
First of our group features, it is the spring sprint. The Scunner has been rock solid this preparation and looks to continue on that improvement.
And I rate that Thompson handicap, which was run here about 5-6 weeks ago over the 1600 metres. He ran second that day to Haio Sassbomb. We know her quality as a Group 1 performer.
He's a nice mature type. He's got really good strength. His coat's in healthy order. He's doing things right in terms of his overall disposition. Does just get a little bit warm.
The Scunner, who I was very keen on, like Stephen, I think this horse has been great this preparation, really flying, and with a little bit of rain around earlier in the week, looked a good play.
A Group 3 Taylor Property Plus Spring Sprint. Ready to go, gates back, and they're off at racing. Slow there was Blissful Bell, and also Bell's Bow is on the drift early and getting back with those. Frank the Tank. Kitty Flash came out running. She came out to lead early over If in Doubt Get Out, who's been ridden for speed today. And up on the outside, the Scunner, as they turn their heads for home. And the leader, If in Doubt Get Out, Kitty Flash brought to the outside. Wider Spencer, and now Mr. Clark. He's starting to rock and roll up the centre of the track. The Scunner took over. Kitty Flash, Mr. Clark, Spencer, can she? Right down the outside is ready to charge. The Scunner in front, Kitty Flash down the outer, Mystic Park, it's the Scunner, lifting on the inside, Group 3 for the Scunner.
Well, just flying this horse, and the better tracks don't seem to have really been against the Scunner as we probably suspected through that last preparation. I thought that was a great ride.
I was watching him and I looked back and a few of them were being scrubbed up and he was still travelling good and sort of had a bit of confidence, and I wasn't quite sure how he was going to kick on top of the ground today, but you know, he showed a good turn of foot and he was tough to the line. Can't fault him this prep. I think he's just matured, he's bigger, stronger, and he's going super, and I think there's more in store for him.
I knew he was going to be hard to peg back. I think he just got a bit of confidence when he got to the leader and he was still travelling well, and when I asked him to go, he really kicked, and he kicked strong, so I thought they're going to have to really fly to get past me.
Big result for Kelly Myers, Ashley Meadows, and of course the Scunner, and I feel like a sort of a coming of age, a first stakes win for the Scunner, causing a bit of an upset in the race under a good steer by Kelly Myers.
Yeah, look, he finished last preparation a winner at benchmark 7E level. He came back in the early spring, wins an open handicap at Otaki, and then produced a really good second in the Thompson handicap. I guess the question mark on him yesterday was, could he replicate that good form on top of the ground? Because he was more adept, or his results suggested he was better on rain-affected surfaces. I thought Kelly's summation after the race was brilliant, and the way that she rode him meant that she really understood the horse that she was riding. So in her mind, the tactics for her were that she had to sit somewhere on speed so that she was at an advantage. If he didn't show the same turn of foot on top of the ground that he did on rain-affected footing, she had already established an advantage by riding him the way she did. That, to me, says she understood exactly the horse she was riding and the best way she could tactically to beat the field that was behind her. So she was positive out the barriers, put the horse outside the leader, travelled beautifully into the race and allowed the horse to build through his gears. He showed a good enough turn of foot on the good surface that those horses that perhaps are a little bit better than him or a little bit classier than him couldn't make up the ground. So I thought it was a terrific ride by Kelly. She understood the horse she was on and adopted really great tactics. But he is a horse that has sort of come of age, hasn't he, Aidan?
That's, I spoke to Ashley this morning and he said, you know, it's not about the track conditions, because a good horse will always handle, you know, any type of track condition, and he is really stepping up. That's now 6 wins from 15 starts, and he's been so versatile. Like you say, he's handled the wet tracks, but he's also been able to do it from both ends of the race as well. I love the fact that, you know, like you say, Kelly was terrific on him yesterday. Ashley said that's probably the best win of his career, although he's sort of still ruining New Zealand Cups that have got away within my shadow and those sort of things. But he's got a couple of options now, whether he goes to the Ritual Mile or stays in the CD for group racing there. So he's got some options, but he's also got a really nice horse.
Yeah, he does. 16th winner, stakes winner for Sham Express as well, and obviously next weekend Kaying Rising. So just reiterating how well he's doing at stud as a stallion, Sham Express. Bred by Gloria Kenny, and this horse has actually got an incredible female family, Aidan. When you look back at the pedigree, G.I. Jayne, Miss Jessie J, Katie Lee, it's, you know, it's a family that's typically produced very good fillies and mares. As a gelding, he probably stands himself apart, but he's got a really well-bred, good-looking horse on his hands. He's obviously nursed the horse along, allowed him to mature, and he's getting the results of that right now, Ashley.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the Beaten Brigade? Obviously a couple of favourites finishing in second and third.
Mystic Park, I think the comments from Opie Bosson, which we will hear, is that he may have got a little bit lost coming around the turn. I thought of the finishers, he was probably the most eye-catching in the way he found the line. So going to a mile and heading to the Thornton Mile, I think, is perfect for him. Look, Kitty Flash, I thought, had her chance. Rariza, probably some excuses. She sat wide without cover throughout the race. But yeah, I just think he was the best horse on the day, well ridden, and he was able to get the job done.
Let's hear from the beaten jockeys post the spring sprint, starting with Opie Bosson.
He ran well. He just raced a little bit off across the top. He just wanted to get out away from them a little bit, and but he did find the line quite well.
It's just great today. Great defeat. Having a nice trail today. coming out off the winner's back and probably at the 400. Thought I was going to pick him up. And she was game in defeat, but you know, a couple of seasoned horses, but she's got a good big race in her.
He was just a little stepped probably a shade short, got into a nice spot and run home really, really strongly. I think he's a horse you're just going to have to watch over a mile over the summer because I think he's going to be pretty fancy.
Look, I took my medicine and rode him back. He found the line really nicely last start, over 1,200 metres. He again found the line really well today, looking for a mile, but I think there's a nice race in him.
It's very good to run. Today a little bit so tough, 59 kilo, and Misky Park 57, another one 53, but it's good to run. It's a good finish, probably next time same weight, very good chance.
Beaten jockeys there from the spring sprint. The other race that we thought we should show you was that open rating 75 2100 metre event that was taken out by Pukekohe in pretty impressive fashion, getting up over the top of a handy field here. What do we make of this?
I thought it was a really strong rating 75 staying event, and I thought for a galloper stepping up over a trip for the first time, he handled himself really well. He did sit wide, but he had cover throughout. He looked like he relaxed really nicely and then showed a terrific turn of foot. Look, he won a maiden at his second start over 1,400 metres, this horse. It took 11 months for him to pick up his second win, and now he's been able to win 3 of his last 4. So he's probably another horse that's really come into his own, and I know that Connections, Aidan, are now looking ahead with him in terms of his future as a stayer, and I think he proved that yesterday that they're on the right track with him.
Yeah, he'd come into that same race as Cinnamon leading, and they both ran really well. So it's you know, it's a decent race on Counties Cup Day where that form stacked up okay. I thought Rosso was okay, you know, and now like Mystic Park, you know, the horses had a look at Trentham now. Now they can sort of plan for bigger things. So yeah, okay, but yeah, I agree. The top end depth of that race, I think these horses with real staying potential. You know, hopefully we see in bigger races later on in the season.
Mentioned Rosso, of course, one of the feature staying events coming up is the Wellington Cup, and Rosso really prominent in that market. So just we can take a quick look at that. 10s into 7s, and it's all about miles in the legs, isn't it, when it comes to the
He had excuses, Rosso, yesterday. He was wide, he had no cover. And I think when you look at his record, he's certainly better over further. I know they freshened him up and brought him back to the 2100, but his best races have all been over ground. So 3,200 metres of Wellington Cup, I think, is the direction they're going to head. And I know they did mention yesterday that he is eligible for a Mufasa Classic, so that was another option. But look, I think Wellington Cup, he looks like he'll stay all day, Rosso. So he did have some excuses yesterday at Trentham, and I wouldn't be dropping off of him just yet.
There's so much to play out in that Wellington Cup. There's a big entry and quite highly rated entries this time round, so we know there's going to be a heap of them fall away, but it could get quite competitive for spots, and Rosso's a long way down that list at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see who's going to go that way and their lead-ups over the Christmas racing period.
A couple of other talking points from the meeting. Obviously, Craig Grylls having a great day out with the 3 winners on the card, and his domination of the Jockeys Premiership continues. Thorax, of course, the first of those.
Well, he's just taken such a commanding lead. I think only a few weeks ago we were talking about how competitive the Premiership was looking, and he has just surged ahead. He's now sitting on 55 wins. He's 22 wins ahead of Sam Collett, who sits on 33, and he's got almost double the prize money of his rival riders. It's very competitive behind Craig, Aidan, when you look at that Premiership. There's only a couple of wins separating a number of jockeys behind Craig. But what he's been able to do over the last couple of seasons is just incredible.
Yep, he's really established himself right at the top of the pecking order. He's riding really well. Obviously, he had that one yesterday where he was the last start rider of Provence, hopped off to do Waitek and got beaten in nose. Hopefully that pays off for him on Boxing Day with Ivil Classic. But yeah, he's flying. You know, you back him with real confidence because he's riding so confidently and he's putting his horses in the right place and presenting them at the right time.
And Lisa Ladder's the other one. That her stable is just going so well at the moment. She's picking up a lot of winners, and she had a great day out, particularly early in the program. Our Sniper, I think, is a galloper that we can follow with a little bit of confidence.
There. Really nice.
Yeah, and he's a really nice horse. He's a great moving horse. He's got a terrific attitude, and that's sort of the information we were getting post-race. Even Amber Riddell said he's just so lovely to ride, easy to do everything with. So he ticks boxes in terms of the attributes that you look for in a racehorse. So I think that he's one that we can follow. Even talking of of that race, the Dirty D, there've been some comparisons with Like a Lucy and Robbie Patterson is following the same trajectory with this filly as what he did with Like a Lucy. She was really unlucky and beaten in this exact race last year before going on and winning a Eulogy. The Dirty D, she was forced wide on the turn. It probably cost her the race, in all honesty. So she now heads to a Eulogy as well.
We talked about it at the start of the show. I think there's some really nice horses, some good form races from Trentham yesterday. Talking about fiasco and chaos at the races, I want to take you back to Otaki on last Sunday, where the Wellington Stakes was quite the dramatic running of the race. Take a look at this.
As they go for home, Mount Cook, Abacus the leader, heads up for home. She's a length in front. Landman, here's Road to Paris into the clearing, coming after them with a really good sort of run. And then Emirati, but Road to Paris swept on by Emirati to second. And then Landman, it's Road to Paris in front. He said au revoir. Oh, he's run out. He's dropped the rider. Oh my goodness, he's dropped the rider right on the line. Carnage on the line, drama here, and I don't know who's won it. Landman, Tulsa King, Emirati. Muhasa is up on his feet. Well, that's the positive news. Oh, he was home. He was home. He was home, James. Emirati was going to be running second, and then he's just completely shied at the line, and he's taken Emirati with it, and I've got no idea who's won the race.
There's a photo for you. That is very, very deceiving finish.
First of our features, the Bone Crusher Stakes, Group 3, over the 1,400 metres. What about That's Gold? This has taken money too. Into $6.50. Opening quote was $12. Won a midweek maiden, and look, he won that well, and he brought very good form going into that race.
Look, he was another one from Barrier 2, heavy on speed. He was really good at, obviously, Tiara had last time. He was very busy as a 2-year-old, but look, he's nice and relaxed in the birdcage, so yeah, interesting runner.
3-year-olds are locked and loaded. Set. Ooh, Legla Noir anticipated the start. Racing in the Bone Crusher. Caught them beautifully too. Legla Noir, Papa Dennis about the first two away. Too Sweet goes forward out wide, and so too as they settle down to Capital will settle back in 4th spot. Then followed by Mission Complete, followed round next by Landlock, and then That's Gold. And behind them Legla Noir from That's Gold, then followed further out Taylor Square. Also running on Landlock, Yamato Sutono's a fair way off them. At the 250 to Capital, made the lead from Too Sweet. Legla Noir, That's Gold. Out wide Taylor Square, and then came Landlock and Yamato Sutono. It's to Capital in front, coming after it on the outside. That's Gold. That's Gold ranged up, got the lead and wins the Bone Crusher. The Chris Wood winning run continues with the win in the Bone Crusher Stakes with That's Gold.
Boy, it really does continue, and I'm sure he is oh so happy it is, because now it's Group 3 success for one of his gallopers here in the Bone Crusher. He's ranged up and he's gone straight past one of the favourites in the race into Capital top win.
Chris is stable flying at the moment, so look, they work hard and they deserve it, and yeah, good race for the owners too.
It's a little while since I've won a group race, and I really like this horse. As I probably told you a few weeks ago, I might over-race him a couple of times, a 2-year-old, and I'd kick him myself, so I thought he'd win a race in that time frame, but we didn't get one. But I've always had a lot of faith in him. He's got plenty of ability, and 10 out of 10 ride from Taylor, and thank you to my staff back home.
He's a really cool racehorse. He's still learning still. He's just a bit green, but I think like the penny's just starting to drop now, and he's throwing in some big strides late. So no, he's really improving, and he felt super today.
It was a great win, wasn't it, by That's Gold, and you could see what it meant to Chris Wood post-race. We've got Chris with us this morning on Weigh In, and Chris, emotions were high, and easy to understand why, because it's been a while since you've won a group race, and no doubt it was a wonderful feeling.
Very much so. Thank you very much for having me on the show this morning. Yeah, it was a big thrill. He's a lovely horse. I've got a great group of owners in him, and I've talked him up for quite a while, and it's nice to get him back on the right leg and get things going right for him, and coming through with the Group 3 yesterday was just the icing on the cake.
Obviously, it's a Group 3, which is nice to get, Chris, but what's the potential of this horse? Can he go on to higher honours?
Very much so. I've just been tracking his sectionals. It's great, all these new apps and bits and pieces we've got here. Auckland Racing Club have introduced it. And even when he raced at Tiara last week, I think he ran a half a second quicker than any other horse on the whole day for his last 200 metres. And the sectionals are really, really good. And he's a good, strong racehorse. And there's still plenty of improvement to come.
I see his sectionals from yesterday, terrific. His last 800s, like 4/10 of a second faster than the next as well. So it's just showing that he's the right type of horse. What's his distance, Chris?
I actually think he'll get up to 2,000 metres, to be honest. I'm not sure. You only get one chance at the Derby, so that's an option too. But I think 2,000 metres eventually. But at the stage, we'll probably just stick to a mile. But if they're going to get it, they'll get it as a 3-year-old. So, yeah, it's only so many horses stay the distance of the Derby, and it's a long time since I've had a Derby runner too. But, yeah, I think he's got that potential.
Chris, take me back to the start. When did he come onto your radar, and how did he end up in your stable?
Paul Moroney buys horses for me, him and his partner, Catherine. And they're very good judges. And I was bidding on him through Paul on the phone at the Melbourne sale, and I had about 40, and somehow I got to 57.5. Not quite sure what happened there. 50 was going to be my next bid. That was it. But we got on 57.5, and he rocked his way home, and we syndicated him, and took a little while to syndicate him. I haven't got a lot of wealthy owners, so the biggest stable seemed to pinch all them. So, yeah, I've got a nice team of owners. Harold Gallagher, he's been with me for 35 years now. The first one he had a share with me was V-Dub, first crop of the Volksrad. So that's how long Harold's been around. And Jenny Duckworth, she's been with me probably 25 years. And, yeah, I've got some really good owners in the horse, and they're enjoying the ride. And some new people as well, which is great.
It sounds fantastic. It's good to have that. And, geez, it takes you back to those halcyon days. Chris, we saw a Captain Cook run yesterday. You won that race with Allegro all those years ago. Could this crop of horses, because your stable seems to be flying at the moment, could this be the renaissance of the stable?
Hey, Aidan, I'm getting 65 next year, for God's sake. Look, I've got a great team of horses around me. I've got a great team of staff, which I really appreciate. They do a lot of work around the place, and you can't operate without them. I've got a lovely lot of owners around me, and I've probably got the nicest lot of horses I've had for a long time. It's the old story. I'm sure I can train a horse just as good as anybody else can, but you've got to have the cattle, and if you haven't got the cattle, it makes the job bloody hard. But at this present point in time, I've got lovely horses, good owners, good staff, and the place is flying.
I think the good thing, Chris, is you've been able to retain a horse of his quality as well. I know you made mention yesterday that you'd knocked back some offers for the horse. Just talk us through that process and the reason why the horse has remained here in New Zealand.
Well, the money Yulong was offering was reasonable, Jayne, but listen, it's split sort of between 12 or 14 people. It doesn't go a long way. And you try to replace these horses, and it's damn hard. We've already had somebody from Hong Kong chasing him this morning, but unless it's magic money, well, he won't go anywhere. He'll be staying within the stable. But once again, I've got to run that past the syndicate and see what they want to do. But with the way the stake money is, Entain's improved racing in New Zealand no end, and the money's up, and it's certainly made the job a lot easier. And getting out of bed when you're racing for the money we were yesterday, instead of the old 8,000 to 10,000, it wasn't that long ago. It was bloody hard to make ends meet. But now, with this money up on the board, and you've got a nice horse, well, you can compete here. You don't have to go worrying off to Australia willy-nilly. And I'm quite happy to stay here in New Zealand and support New Zealand racing. And I love supporting Auckland. I love their new track. County's track was good yesterday. So, yeah, no, I take my hat off to them. They've got the place rocking and rolling, and it's got to be so good for New Zealand and New Zealand racing.
You do mention you've always had a bit of faith in him. He was probably one runner as a 2-year-old that I was very surprised he wasn't able to pick up a maiden victory, but he's now gone back-to-back. Is the difference this season just the fact that he's a little bit more mature?
He is, Jayne, and I remember you saying at the end of last season he's a horse to follow, and one of my owners brought that up in the presentation yesterday. He said, Jayne, Ivil had a lot of faith in this horse. So you weren't the only one, Jayne, I did too, but I probably gave him 2 runs too many as a 2-year-old, but I had to make my mind up, and I was trying to get him educated, and I chucked blinkers on him for his last run before he went out, and Joe Doyle said he just over-raced completely. So it was back to the drawing board, and then just recently I've added side winkers, and he seems to have adapted to them well, and hence his last 2 winning runs. So, yeah, we're on the right track.
Chris, we really appreciate you dialing in to weigh in this morning. Congratulations on a huge success yesterday, and it looks like you've got a very exciting horse to head forward with.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate the opportunity to be on here, and As I say, it's nice to have a nice horse in the stable that makes that getting out of bed early well worth it. But I just don't like Sunday racing too much. That's my golf day. I've got to go to Tiara today, but I do like my maiden at Tiara, Bertie Wooster. So hopefully he can do the job for me and make me miss out on my golf. He's got to be doing something for me.
A tip and a Group 3 success. We love it, Chris. Thank you so much. And a lovely win, very effortless. There's plenty to work with there. Of the beaten brigade, though, what do we think?
Oh, look, I thought there was a couple of horses that hit the line really nicely. Taylor Square being one of those. Came from sort of off the speed and was making nice ground late. I think looking at stepping out a bit further in trip, he's certainly a horse to follow. To Capital, probably looked like the winner of the race halfway down the straight, perhaps hit the front a little bit too soon. I think the words from the stable were that they may drop back and trip now with To Capital, and I actually think that sort of what I've read out of watching her race, that she probably is more of a 1200 metre speed filly, so it'll be interesting to see where they decide to go with her next. But look, that's gold. I think he's got a lot of upside. As you can see, he was still laying in and doing things wrong in the straight, so I think once, as Taylor Mitchell said, the penny drops and he really puts it all together, he could be quite a promising horse.
Yeah, just from the sectionals, he's run the quickest last 8, 6, 4 and 2. To Capital, the second quickest last 8 and 6. Lenegua Noir, the second quickest last 200. And Taylor Square that you spoke of, second quickest last 400. So some nice runs, but I think the winner was superior. Looks like a really nice horse.
Let's hear from the beaten jockeys post the Bone Crusher, and we kick things off with Sam Weatherly.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts. Each and every time I watch the replay of it, I feel for the horse. I feel for the connection. She really deserved that. But look, we learned something today now that she's just an out-and-out sprinter. Like, she had the most beautiful run. She wasn't let off the bridle till about the 250 and really pinged, but then she just paddled late over the 1400. So expect her to have a little freshen up back to 1200, and she'll be one of our better sprinters around in a couple of years to come.
He's a beautiful colt. Very good run to here today. He just feels to me he's a middle distance type horse. He's going to eat up a mile and even 2000, but he's a really good colt, and today was a good stepping stone for further.
Yeah, listen, he went super. I was sort of 3 wide but 8 cover. He was in a happy space. I've had to come off a bit early, but he's really got rocking and rolling late. Good run going forward. So those 3-year-old races, once he gets a trip, he'll be right in it, I think.
Yeah, it was a good tough run. Obviously pushed forward from the gate. Obviously been getting back a little bit in just a bit of trouble, so we elected to push forward. And she's probably just a little bit aggressive outside the leader. 1200 metres probably suit. Rode her the same and she'll stick on well, but she had every right to stop and she didn't, so it was a good tough effort.
That's a wrap of the Bone Crusher. We get you on to the Concorde Stakes for the sprinters, and Midnight Edition is absolutely flying at the moment, and it was a hearty win in this one. And Brendan Popwell actually had Matt Cameron on the coverage earlier on, and he described beautifully how he wanted the horse to be ridden and how to get the best out of him, and delivered that in buckets.
Well, talking of the Bone Crusher, he ran 5th in it 12 months ago, and he's had a great 12 months since then. There's no doubt about that. I think he's a really exciting horse going forward. Midnight Edition won a maiden tick under 14 months ago. As I mentioned, ran 5th in a Bone Crusher, 2nd in Auckland Guineas by protest, I believe, and then won an Open 3-year-old back in February, another one in April, won an Open handicap over the 1200 metre trip, and then he's been stakes placed in his last couple of outings. I actually think he's a super horse in the making, and I think it's terrific for the ownership group who bred him and raced him, and it's a wonderful story surrounding him.
He keeps running like numbers that are saying that he's of the highest standard, and he does it consistently week in, week out, and that's a credit to Bruce Warbank as well. He only trains, I think, 1 or 2 horses from his base at Pukekohe. His father, Alan, was a trainer who trained about 30 winners, but this is, I think, his first. I think it's his first Group 1. So obviously relegated in that Group 2 Auckland Guineas that you spoke of. So he's pretty proud of the effort. Now goes probably to the Rich Hill Mile as a lead into the Aotearoa Classic on Karaka Millions night. So yeah, really nice run. I thought the other real key performer in that race was Master Fay, who was terrific. A couple of little disappointments in the race as well and behind, but yeah, Midnight Edition, a really nice horse heading forward. And I think Master Fay does have a big sprint in him somewhere too.
No, I do too. I know that he was known for the Telegraph, this horse, but as you mentioned, they've decided not to throw him in the deep end as a 4-year-old, but Master Fay looks like he might be set for a Telegraph. Tardelli's the interesting one. He holds a Telegraph nomination. I think
a bit more from him yesterday. I really did. I thought Tardelli, you know, he's a horse with so much promise as well, and obviously being a stallion, we want to see him get that Group 1 win, to see him prolong his career in thoroughbred racing at least, but let's see.
All right, well, that's a wrap on the Concorde at Pukekohe. We're going to get you off to a break. On the back of that, it's our Moments of the Week and, of course, our Weight Watchers. Short and sharp finish to weigh in for this week's edition as we get you through our Moments of the Week, very kindly brought to you by the good people at the Saddlery Warehouse. A big thank you to all of them. Let's get into Moments of the Week, and Jayne, kick things off.
Bruce Wallbank is my moment of the week with Midnight Edition. I think he's got a really nice horse on his hands. It was a well-deserved victory at stakes level yesterday at Pukekohe, and I just think it's so great to see people like Bruce still in our industry, 79 years of age, and he's got just a lovely horse on his hands. He's a breeder in his own right. I know he bred a stakes horse in Australia and Snow Patrol, so look, I hope that he continues to have great results with this horse.
I spoke to him this morning. He's had his licence for many, many years, but he's only got into it since he's retired. He was a master builder, so pretty cool story. And isn't it great to see those overnight sensations at 78? For me, I'm going to go Provence. Just fantastic to see this horse now a 3-time Group 1 winner for Stephen Marsh, who's done a super job. He could have easily gone the Callows, as he rolled the dice, took the Group 1, and to Tony Ryder and to the social racing team, fantastic. And I know, Emily, you're gonna be on the same team, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great win yesterday, and I think for George Rook, who went oh so close and sort of celebrated a Group 1 before he had achieved it at Christchurch, and then to have got the Group 1 today, very well deserved, and it was great to have him on the show this morning. That's our Moments of the Week. We also have our Weight Watchers for you, horses to follow throughout the next week or so. And who do we want to start with? Jayne, kick us off.
I'm going with Can Do from the Peter and Trentham stable. I had it on top from the yard yesterday. It was a month between runs, so perhaps maybe just a little bit vulnerable late, but he should be picking up a rating 65 victory very soon.
I'm going to have one who was a 6th ballot at Friday meeting at Rotorua, but that was Chilling Out, who got a run. Savabeel filly with Andrew Forsman. I thought very, very impressive, and one to watch out for going ahead.
And for me, Furiosa, that was yesterday at Trentham, should be third up next time, and I think if it can find a similar race, should be hard to beat, not having a whole lot of room up the straight at Trentham yesterday. Well, that wraps things up here on Weigh In this morning. There's a look at our Weight Watchers, a recap. Chilling Out for Aidan, Can Do for Jayne, and for me, Furiosa from the Matthew Eels stable. Big thank you to both of you, and as always, for everybody at home, we will be back next week to do it all again as we review the racing right here on Weigh In.
Racing in the Bone Crusher. That's gold. That's gold, ranged up, got the lead and wins the Bone Crusher.
The Scunner lifting on the inside. Group 3 for the Scunner.
And they're off in the Concorde. Midnight Edition still in front. Midnight Edition.
Ready, they're racing in the TAB Mufasa Classic. La Creek, Waitak and Provence on a 3-way go, and I think Provence with another Group 1 win on the Champagne turf.